Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.
Welcome, and consider yourself lucky. You've stumbled upon the Bro Sports Podcast.
It's like eating a hot circle of garbage.
Now we'll be talking sports.
Whether it's not being picked for a team, or being picked for a team, and then showing up and realizing that the team doesn't exist, or that the sport doesn't exist. I should have known. Poop ball?
But more than that, we'll be talking about life, love, the pursuit of happiness, everything as it relates to being a bro.
Sometimes we play who can put the most M&Ms in their mouth.
So sit back, relax, and if you can get through the whole 30 minutes, I guarantee satisfaction.
That's what she said.
We are Professional. If you're listening to this, then you're awesome. I'm really cool.
And I'm the Cartman, and this is Bro Sports.
This is show number 4. It'll be a shorter show than usual, no geek speak, but we should be back to full swing next week.
And on today's show, we're talking Week 3 of the NFL in our usual unique fashion, including the disaster in Seattle.
We're going oops, told you so, surprises, disappointments, impact players, and a little trash talking as we face off each other in 2 fantasy leagues this week.
Oh, you better start praying to God, because I'm going to kick your butt. And today we're going to end our show by taking a look at Week 4 matchups. And I'm going to try to catch back up in our weekly picks.
You ready, Cartman?
Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to
talk about sports.
He did stick his nose in there and everything else he had. And it's tight, and it's right up there. You see he's going to bring it right in, darn near to his chin at the end. You just got the feeling that he smelled the 8-hole and then got it in the end zone. It's not that hard to get a tight end open. And that guy sits inside you, just cut it off and run right across his face.
Now for the section of our show that's dedicated just to sports.
How am I supposed to get my mouth around that?
That's what she said.
So I'm looking at the pick total now, Cartman.
Don't look too close. It might hurt.
Yeah, it hurts you. I am up 2 games now. I had a great week. I went 9-7.
Yeah, that 9-7, that ain't that great. You might not even make the playoffs.
That's true. But I am a wild card team, and I didn't win only 6 games like you did.
Yeah, don't worry about that. You got a gift from the refs in one of those games. I'll just say, keep it at that.
My total is 25-23. Yours is 23-25. You're worse than a coin flip, dude. Do you have a quarter in your pocket? I think that might come in handy when you're doing your picks this week.
I got a penny. That's about all I got. It is a 1978.
Oh, that's a bad year.
I know.
Listeners, if you haven't noticed, this show is a little late. That's because we have real jobs that we actually get money for.
Yes.
And so those take priority to our fake jobs, which do nothing but annoy the hell out of our wives.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, my schedule got changed on me last minute. This next week, I still don't know what I'm going to be working exactly. But bear with us, everyone. We're going to get it settled, and we're going to get it posted.
Well, should we go right into our oops? I'll start while you kind of think through all the mistakes you made last week.
Let's see, which one was the worst? Let's see here. All right, you go first.
All right. My biggest oops is picking the Eagles to win.
Oh, and you made fun of me for that pick, too. You're like, you almost said it.
I know.
Remember?
That's my biggest oops. The Eagles got crushed. And you know what? I'm still not a believer in the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know who they're playing this week, but I'm picking against them. And I don't even know who they're playing. I might change that in 15 minutes when I find out who they're playing. But,
yeah, if they're playing the Jaguars or something. I'm not sure either off the top of my head, but I'm going to have to go my biggest oops, the Saints, because I guaranteed the Saints to win against the Chiefs last week, and they just disappointed. But, I picked the Saints to have a bad year from the beginning. I picked against them every single week, and so I'm 2-1 on those picks. I'm better than a coin flip on those picks.
Yeah, you're a prognosticator. The Eagles they could not keep the ball in their hands. 6 fumbles, 6 interceptions. They are 31st in turnover differential, only 1 ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs. And they are just not a good team right now. And it's easy to blame Michael Vick. But I don't. I don't blame Michael Vick. I blame the fact that Michael Vick has to play on from his back. He was sacked 5 times, which isn't outlandish, but he was hit another 17 times. That means he was hit 22 times total. That's like more than half the times he had the ball in his hands.
Wow. I didn't know about that stat, but I think Michael Vick has a lot to blame on this. I mean, well, for one thing, he's not as young as he used to be.
Is that his fault?
He doesn't have that. He's still fast. He can still run fast, but he doesn't have that quick sidestep type thing. You know, he's just not.
But you know what I think a lot of that has to do with? I think that has to do with people getting on him about staying in the pocket more. And I think he's trying to stay in the pocket more.
Well, that's his problem. And then, again, that's his fault. If he doesn't play well trying to stay in the pocket, then who cares what people say? Unless it's your coaches, who cares what people say? Well, I don't know why, because his first year as a starting quarterback in Philadelphia, he ran for a lot of yards and he did good. Remember everyone saying, why isn't he MVP? He's so amazing. And, well, he was playing the way he was. And I don't think the coaches are telling him that, because why would the coaches change something that's not broken?
The coach we're talking about right here is Andy Reid. He's the most pass-happy coach that has ever existed in the NFL.
Andy Reid's a smart guy. Why change something that's not broken?
It is broken.
It is now.
And when you have one of the best running backs in the league on your team, it's the same thing that people were saying 6 years ago when they had Brian Westbrook on the team, and they were still throwing the ball. What are they doing? Why do they always do this?
You know what, though?
I don't understand Andy Reid.
Yeah, well,
I don't like him.
Well, I don't think, like, Sean McCoy, I think he's very overrated. I don't think he's one of the best running backs in the NFL.
If the Eagles get back to running the ball, whether it's LaShawn McCoy or Michael Vick or a combination of the two, they will do better. They will control the ball more. They will turn the ball over less because you won't have Michael Vick throwing from his back. But I am blaming Andy Reid, you're not, but it's the offensive line. The offensive line needs to step up. They need to block somebody. You cannot be proud of your quarterback being on his back 22 times in a game.
Yeah, well, that's true, but Michael Vick he's in that pocket. He's not taking the 3-step drop throw. He's going 1, 2, like, crap, they're covered. I can't count to 3.
Then he runs.
So
He needs to run. He needs to run at that point.
He needs to run, and he doesn't.
I know.
He just doesn't, and I don't think it's the coach. I think it's him, like, trying to get that in his mind, and then he forces the ball.
All right, let's go on.
Yeah,
we got to move on.
Yeah.
I told you so.
Told you so. I'm going to go the Giants just because it's one of the only games I got right this week against you.
Yeah, that's true. But it's true. The Giants crushed the Panthers.
Yeah, Eli Manning I would have to put him in the top 3 quarterbacks in the league right now. Like,
well, here's
right
my theory
now.
This was my thought going into that game. And I'm going to go ahead and share it out because this thought turned it up to be poo-poo garbage, crappy crap time.
Mm-hmm.
But what my thought was is that on a Thursday night game, always pick the home team. Travel on a short week, that just puts you in a huge disadvantage. So I was thinking, every Thursday game, I'm going to pick the home team. And the first time I thought that, I picked the Panthers, and they just got demolished. All right, my biggest I told you so, the Seahawks defense. I said they were a tough, hit-you-in-the-face defense. And you know what? When I'm looking at that defense play, it looks like 11 schoolyard bullies are out there on the field. They're just mean. They're vicious.
I was going to say, I got to back you up on that a little bit. Did I not say when I picked the Seahawks to win that division, I said that they're going to have a very good defense and one of the best defenses in the league. And right now, I do believe they play like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens defense. That defense can win a championship. That defense can. Now, bring the rookie quarterback and things in, you know, it's another story. But I think that defense itself is excellent. And I was scared going into that game. And the defense,
they're not playing against crappy offenses. I mean, they shut down Dallas. They completely shut them down, and Dallas is not a crappy offense. And when Green Bay came into town, Green Bay scores 12 points.
The Seahawks defense is going to win them games this year. The offense, they only need to score 20 points, and they're going to go 10-6 at least. You know what I mean?
I think we need to talk about it, Cartman.
Oh, gosh.
We need to talk about it.
We should.
That I like the coolest nickname I've heard for it is the inaccurate reception.
Oh, like the immaculate reception?
Exactly. What do you think about it? What's your take, being a Green Bay Packers fan?
I put in vacation from work to be able to watch that game. And I was over at my friend's house, and we were watching it, and I don't think that last play was honestly the worst call in the game, believe it or not. And I've heard a couple people talk about it, but the biggest play was on that final drive. There was a 3rd down, It was like 3rd and 30. And the Packers, Sam Shields or Jarrett Bush got called for that defensive pass interference. For one thing, that defensive player was looking at the ball. The offensive player wrapped his arm around the guy and threw him to the ground. That is what won the game for the Seahawks. That last play was a bad call, and that's what's getting all the publicity. But that pass interference is actually the biggest thing, because Seahawks shouldn't have even been in that situation. But that last call was absolutely crazy. Let me tell you what was going through my mind when it happened. When it first happened, I was watching on TV. I was like, oh, the Packers got the ball. It's an interception. And then all of a sudden, touchdown goes across the screen at the very bottom of the ESPN broadcast. And I was like, holy cow. And then I was like, oh, it's okay. It's a touchdown. It's going to be reviewed. So I was like, and once they went to the review booth, I was like, don't worry. It's not going to be a touchdown. So I like walking around, kind of just chilling out a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the ref came back on and said, it's a touchdown. And I was just livid. I don't know if I've ever been as upset, mad, angry, wanted to cry, wanted to punch a Seahawks fan. I don't know.
I remember when Kansas City came back from 18 in Lambeau Field and won. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember you during that moment.
Yeah, I do, because the Chiefs were undefeated at that point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We all know about Packers and Chiefs undefeated.
That's true, right?
But,
all right, here's my take on that.
Let's hear it.
First of all, you talked a lot about the referees and blowing calls, and that was going on all night, but not just in the Seahawks' favor. It was going on in the Green Bay's favor as well. There were 24 total penalties in that game.
Oh, yeah.
For 245 yards. That's more yards than Rodgers had passing, and almost twice as many yards as Wilson had passing. That means this is a game that is completely controlled by the referees.
Yes.
I
just got to say something real quick. Most out of those 24 calls, probably 19 of them are right. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
I'm just saying.
But the other 5 were really bad.
Really bad.
Were game changers. Yeah. It wasn't just, I love that you say it wasn't just one call that changed the game. It was a menagerie of bad calls throughout the entire game. So you look at that, and if I look at it as that's a clean slate. Both teams were playing with horrible officials.
Yes.
The Seahawks played that game very, very hard, and I do think they deserve to win that game. Should they have won that game? Did they win that game? Well, probably not. But they deserve to win that game. When you put Aaron Rodgers on the ground 8 times in the first half, you deserve to win. Another thing I want to say before you start pounding me in the ground a little bit.
Oh, I wasn't going to pound you in the ground. I just wanted to reply to what you just said.
All right, well, let me say one more thing.
Okay, go for it.
You never, ever want to be in the position where there is one play that's going to decide the game. The Packers put themselves into a position in which there's going to be one more play that's going to be deciding this game. And when that happens, anything could happen.
You can't say that against the Packers and not say the same thing against the Seahawks. The Seahawks left it down to one play as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And it could have not gone their way. You know what I mean? It's pretty much just something crazy is going to happen.
Flip of a coin, and whoever's got the most money.
Who is that guy? Jennings? CB Jennings? JB Jennings?
Yeah, Jennings.
Okay, Jennings.
MG Jennings.
I'm going to blame him. He did the wrong thing. You saw almost the exact same play happen in this last Thursday game, this game that happened 2 days ago. But what you saw was a much more experienced Baltimore Ravens defense that knew what to do. Instead of trying to intercept the ball, they hit it out of bounds. They hit it away from the offense. They didn't try to get the stat or the interception. Coaches tell you time in and time out, hit the ball to the ground or knock it out of bounds. That's what you do in that situation.
Yeah. But did you hear his reaction to it? He was on ESPN radio and got asked that very question. Why didn't you just knock it away? And his response was, which makes sense. He's a young player. I think if he's not a rookie, he's a second-year player. But he said that, remember that Lions-Titans game where the defensive guy could have got an interception, but he just knocked it down and then he knocked it over to somebody else to get a touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
So what he said was the way he plays is he wasn't trying to catch the ball for the stats. He was catching the ball because if he has the ball in his arms, he knows that the other team does not have the ball. You know what I'm
Isn't that
saying?
ironic, though? Because he had the ball in his arms.
He did.
And so did the other team. Well, supposedly. And I don't think the Seattle fans should be put in a situation where they feel like they need to apologize for the win. That's ridiculous.
Oh, I don't think they need to apologize, but when guys at work keep rubbing it in my face every time I walk by them for a stupid
That's annoying,
call,
though.
I just want to punch a Seahawk fan in the face. Seahawk fans have done that to me my whole life.
Since you're talking about how stupid Seahawk fans are, I got something else. And this is a hat tip to Matt Hilditch, who's a big listener on our show. And he actually brought this to my attention first off. And he said, you know what? The worst thing about that win is how Seattle fans now are referring to a Super Bowl that they lost because of the refs. And you can't see it, but I'm doing air quotes. Because of the refs. And they're referencing something that may or may not have happened 7 years ago.
Well,
that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. And one thing about that Super Bowl, it wasn't the refs that ran the ball 71 yards for a touchdown. It was Willie Parker. It wasn't the refs who threw that long pass to, I think it was Hines Ward. It was Anquan Randall that threw that long pass, that trick play to Hines Ward down the field. It wasn't the refs that made those plays. The Steelers made big plays in that game. But anyway, I've been saying those same 2 points for the last 7 years. Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, that was 7 years ago. That was a whole totally different team.
All right, so let's move on to the surprise of the week. My surprise of the week is going to be my own team. And not that they won, because that is not surprising to me. I picked them to win.
What do you mean by own team? Do you got like 11 little guys sitting on your desk? Or?
Yes, they are my team.
Oh, okay.
I have claimed them. No, the Kansas City Chiefs.
You climbed to the top of them, and
I'll see, how many guys do I have on my desk? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 guys on my desk. I almost have a full team. But anyways, it's not that they won. What's surprising to me is that they are the number 1 offense in the NFL.
By yardage, right? Or by points?
By yardage. 441 yards per game. And they are also the number 1 running team in the NFL with 191 yards per game.
Crap.
They also have the number 1 running back who is the number 1. And in week 2, you know how many yards he got?
7.
6.
Oh, I was close.
6 yards. He got 6 yards. And he's leading the league after 3 games. That's insane. Good job, Kansas City.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
But I am actually very surprised about that as well. But my big surprise for the week is the Arizona Cardinals going 3-0. Who would have expected? Why is Skelton and Cole, combined, looking like Kurt Warner was back in that backfield, hucking that ball around to Fitzgerald? They are just looking good all around. They're playing all around good football. Offense, defense. They're doing enough to win.
You think?
You bring up stats for the Chiefs.
I don't know.
I bring up wins for the Cardinals. It surprises me.
They are doing enough to win.
Okay.
I'm going to pick against them this week. I don't even know who they're playing.
Yeah, you're probably going to pick against the Packers again, too.
That's true. All right, disappointment.
All right, disappointment. My disappointment is in Roger Goodell. That he let this referee thing drag on for so long. And he comes out and says that this Monday night debacle had nothing to do with
that's bullcrap.
them signing the refs this week. Like 4 days after this huge uproar. I mean, that story was like on the Today Show. It was on CNN. It was on every single news source. I mean, it was like on like TMZ. It was on every end of the aspect ratio.
But you know what's crazy about that?
What's that?
It's almost ironic because that is almost good for the NFL. Because now they're getting on places outside of the sports world. They're being recognized, so it's sports stories that are relevant to every other world. That's almost good for the NFL.
It is good for the NFL, but say a woman's watching TMZ and they see this story, it's not going to make them want to go tune into the NFL. They're like, I'm tired of hearing about it. I don't want to hear about this. What is this? It doesn't make me want to watch football anymore.
Did you know that the post-game, the ESPN post-game show, after that Monday night was like their best ratings that they've gotten in like 17 years or something ridiculous?
Oh, I believe it. I really do believe it.
My biggest disappointment is Greg Jennings and his ridiculous commercials.
Hey, they're funny.
They're stupid.
I like
That's not my real disappointment, but that is disappointing.
Wait, what about BJ Raji's commercial where he's doing the Discount double check, and then he starts doing the hip sway.
I like the first
Raji
discount.
dance.
I like the first discount double check commercial with just Aaron Rodgers and then the guy going, Aaron! At the end. But, I did not like any of the other ones. But I'll tell you what, my real disappointment is the Steelers defense, unable to hold off a Raider comeback. They had a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter, and I thought the Steelers defense was better than that. The Raiders offense is definitely not this powerhouse that should be able to push the Steelers defense around. They scored 31 points on the Steelers defense.
Yeah,
What are we seeing? Are we seeing a demise? Are we seeing the Steelers defense kind of go downhill a little bit? My impact player offensively. All right, I just got to say, our show is called Bro Sports.
Yes.
Did you know that?
I think I've said it a few times.
The bro stands for brotherhood. And when you have a guy, Torrey Smith, who loses his brother, and that very same day goes out and catches 6 balls for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns in a huge nationally televised game, he has to get the impact play. He has to.
I totally agree with you on offensive impact player of the week. With the week he had, didn't practice at all, and came out to play. His head was in the game. His head was probably other places as well, with his family, with his brother. But the way he played that week without being with his team, which, his teammates are his brothers as well, you could say. But, my heart goes out to him. I couldn't imagine what would happen if something happened to my brother, even though he always talks bad about the Packers.
It's true.
But Torrey Smith, my heart goes out to you. Congratulations on the great week. And you honestly, I don't know if the Ravens would have won without you this week.
Definitely. They barely won that game.
Yeah, they did.
And I do got to say, though, Jamal Charles, if it wasn't for the hardships Torrey Smith was going through and kind of the impressive things that he was doing on and off the field, Jamal Charles would have got my impact player.
He played amazing. When I saw that stat line, I was like, my gosh, where did this come from?
His 91-yard run got his team back into the game, and he ended the game with 233 rushing yards, a touchdown, and then another 55 yards receiving. That's a great game. Good job, Jamal Charles, but I got to give it to Torrey Smith, even though Jamal Charles is my boy.
Well, who do you got for defensive? What are you going with this week?
Defense, I'm going to go Chris Clemens. 4 sacks in the first half of the game. Last week we talked about how the Seattle Seahawks special teams set the tone for the game. This time it was their pass rush. Their pass rush came out and set the tone for that game. And yeah, it was a close game the whole time, and it was interesting, and obviously the controversial ends and all the whole controversial calls throughout the whole thing. But Chris Clemens came to play.
I think I'm going to have to go with the whole Jets defense. The Jets defense, or the way the offense has been playing the last couple weeks after the Jets offense blew up in week 1 and scored 48 points, they haven't been able to really move the ball and score the ball like they did in week 1. So this last week they went into the Dolphins with Reggie Bush coming off that big game and, with a lot of expectations going into Miami. A lot of people picked Miami to beat the Jets this week. But I credit the Jets defense on getting the turnovers, stopping Reggie Bush. And
I'll tell you what, though, you're going to see a completely different Jets defense for the rest of the season without Darrelle Revis.
That's true, and I don't like to see players hurt. I don't like injuries to be the impact of a game or impact of a season for a team. But Jets, maybe karma's coming down on them a little bit, I'm thinking.
I think so. Every team has to go through this where you're devastated by an injury. It happens every year to a third of the teams in the league. The Darrelle Revis injury is going to impact the Jets defense more than any other defensive player ever has, though. Because with Darrelle Revis, you could put him on any receiver in the NFL, and you can almost guarantee that receiver will not get more than 3 or 4 catches in that game.
What do you? Who would you take?
So,
Revis or Calvin Johnson? Who do you think would win that game or win that battle?
I think Revis would win that battle.
Really?
I think he has won that battle. I think he would win that. I think Calvin Johnson would get about 50 yards, but he wouldn't. He would be held in check.
Yeah, but he'd get 50
and
yards.
And the thing
but
is,
2 touchdowns.
Revis is like 2 guys. Revis can go on one receiver just almost effectively as a double team would. And so it's almost like you get 12 guys on the field. You know what I mean? Because Revis is so good, he's as effective as a double team. So when you take that element out of the Jets defense, now the Jets have to play almost a man down. So enough of this garbage talk. Let's do some trash talking. We are playing each other in 2 fantasy football leagues this week.
Yes, we are, and you better watch out, because Aaron Rodgers is going to have a great week, and I have him in both leagues playing against the worst defense in the league in the New Orleans Saints.
I'll be honest, I am pretty worried about that. I am also worried that Ray Rice, he got me about 8 points, I think, in this Thursday game. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I'm really counting on Jamal Charles to have another huge game, but there's no way he's going to go over 200 yards again.
Oh, absolutely not. I probably won't do it again for the rest of the season.
So,
but, he can put up points. I mean, the thing about running backs, it's a flip of the coin. I mean, it depends on where the field position game. I mean, if you get a 20-yard pass and you get down on the 1-yard line, 9 out of 10 times, most teams in the NFL will run the ball with their best running back. So Jamal Charles could score you a crap load of points and not even go over 100 yards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially with Peyton Hillis being hurt, like you said.
Right. We'll see, but I think if they're on 4th down with inches, they're not going to go with Jamal Charles. They'll go with their rookie Sean Drone. But the guy I'm looking at my fantasy team that I really, really need to step up, I actually have him in both fantasy teams that we're playing against each other this week. That's Calvin Johnson. I mean, yeah, he's been playing well. His team's only 1-2, so he hasn't been playing that well. But he's just not living up to those huge stats that he was putting up before. He did get 130 yards or something last week. But he needs to get in the end zone, man. I need some touchdowns out of my boy Megatron.
Yeah, and that's what he does, is score touchdowns. He's just not doing it, It's like a comeback of Chris Carter. What's Chris Carter do? Catch touchdowns, and he's just not doing it no more. Well, actually both players, Chris Carter and Calvin Johnson, not scoring touchdowns. I think I'm going to have to go with Adrian Peterson. I got him in both leagues this week, and he's going against Detroit's defensive line. And I just hope he gets me 80 yards and a touchdown. If I get 15, 16, 17 points out of him, I think I'm going to beat you in both leagues with Aaron Rodgers playing against the Saints defense.
Well, I tell you what, I have Michael Vick in the league that you're the commissioner for. And if Michael Vick gets in the end zone 3 times, I win. Guaranteed.
He won't because he's playing against the Giants defense.
He could get in the end zone 3 times.
Well, yeah, if the defense has 7 guys on the field.
We'll see. All right.
All
In the other game, I have the guys I'm really rooting for are I'm starting Matt Schaub over Peyton Manning.
I think that's a great pick.
I think that's a great idea because Matt Schaub's going against Tennessee at home. So Matt Schaub is only projected 14 points, and I think he's going to get into the 20s. Where you look at Aaron Rodgers, who's projected 29, and yeah, he can get 29 against New Orleans Saints, but I think that's a high-end projection for Aaron Rodgers, whereas the 14 for Matt Schaub is a low-end projection. So I like my chances in that game, but I still need Megatron to get in the end zone.
Yeah, that's true, you do. But let's tell the fans what our projected scores are. In one league, you are projected 117, and I'm projected 93. But that's with Reggie Wayne sitting on the bench, so I might get a projection of a couple more points. But you're projected almost 30 points or 25 points better than me. In the other league, you're projected 103. I'm projected 89. I'm going to take Reggie Wayne out, and I'm going to put a different player in, and I'll get another 5 or 6 points out of him.
Right.
But you are projected to win both of these games. Yep. And that kind of hurts my feelings. Yahoo, they're on my shit list right now. They're kind of hurting me a little bit.
Oh. I'd hug you, but I don't even like you, so let's move on. All right, so let's go on. Since we're talking Week 4, we're moving on. Week 4 actually starts tomorrow. There'll probably be very few people that hear this podcast before Week 4 starts, so sorry about that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, potatoes need picking.
So the Thursday game that happened 2 days ago, I'm going with the Ravens. Who do you got?
I think I'm going to, this is one of those games that's a toss-up. I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens.
Yeah, but you know what? We would have picked the Ravens anyway.
Yeah, we would have both picked the Ravens anyway.
None of us are going 0-3 with the Browns. Yeah. You know what I mean? Thursday games, as a fan, I like them because I like more football on TV. But as a podcaster it just throws a kind of a wrench into what we try to do every week. And I don't know. And I can't imagine trying to be a coach, trying to prepare for a Thursday game. That's got to be nuts. Why don't they do a Friday night game? That'd give one more day.
That would, but, the NFL scheduled these Thursday night games to go against primetime television. They don't want to go against Friday night games, where young people are going out to the bars partying. And when,
Who the hell does that?
Huh?
I don't do that. I haven't been out to the bars partying in years.
I know. Well, we got kids, but for the majority, that playing on a Friday night rather than Thursday night actually really loses a lot of.
It's a good idea. Just admit.
A lot of viewers.
You can be on my side once.
I could.
For a show,
Well, I know, but you're always wrong, so I don't know how to be on your side.
All right, so let's go ahead and do it. Panthers at Falcons. Who do you got?
Packers, Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to win a lot of games this year. I think they're going to be the number one seed in the NFC from the way things have worked out the last couple of weeks. Falcons.
Well, I did say last week that I'm a little bit worried about their run game. I still am. I don't see a lot of explosiveness in their running game, but their passing game is outstanding. Julio Jones, since week 14 of last year, has more touchdowns than anybody else in the league. This year, the Atlanta Falcons are plus 10 on the turnover differential, and that's after just 3 games.
Wow.
After 3 games, they're plus 10, and leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else in the NFL. They're number 1 in the league in that statistic. I'm going Falcons as well.
Right.
Easy.
All right. What do you think about the Patriots at the Bills?
This is an interesting game for me.
Yeah,
I'm actually struggling with this one to pick.
Well, the interesting about this is the Bills are actually ahead of the Patriots in the division race right now, 3 weeks into the season.
I'm going to go Patriots just because they're the Patriots.
Yeah, I got to go Tom Brady.
I don't necessarily think they're the best team right now, but they're the Patriots. They will find a way to win this game. And when the Patriots are pissed off, they win. And I think they're pissed off.
Oh, I don't think I've ever seen Bill Belichick not pissed off. Even after the Super Bowl, they're pissed off.
That's true.
But I got to go Patriots, too. All right, what about 49ers at Jets? Who do you got?
This is another tough one. I just think that the NFL this year is so hard to predict. It's so challenging. I mean, we do things like this all year. We've never done them we've never broadcasted our ideas before, but you and I have always challenged each other in the picks, and we're usually getting like 12, 13 games right per week. Mm-hmm. So to go for our best week to be 9-7 during week 4, that's insane.
That is crazy.
So this is another tough game. 49ers at Jets. I'm going to go with the 49ers. If Revis was still healthy, I'd probably go Jets. But as I talked about early in the show, the Jets are going to miss Revis.
You know what? I think this is the perfect game. I'm going to go with the Jets because I think this is the perfect game for the Jets defense for their first week without Darrelle Revis in. Because who's the 49ers wide receivers?
Crabtree, Randy Moss.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they need Darrelle Revis in this game. I think this will be a good game for Jets defense to build confidence to be able to play without Darrelle Revis. So I'm going to pick the Jets to win this game.
Well, you're also down two picks in our competition here, so you need to start making some risky choices anyway. I'm just saying.
Hey, that ain't risky. I'm right.
All right, Seahawks at Rams.
Seahawks at Rams, Seahawks. That, like we talked about, Seahawks defense.
I think I'm going to go Seahawks as well. They're just a tough team. They're a great defense. Now, this isn't a game where if the Rams win, I'm going to be like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming at all. Because the Rams, they can get in the end zone. I really like the player Amendola on the Rams. I think he's a really fun player to watch. He's like a Wes Welker type player. He's targeted about 10 or 11 times per game, and I think he's someone that the Seahawks are going to have to watch out for. But I think the Seahawks will take this game.
But anyways, we agree on that game as well. What about Vikings at Lions?
What do you think? You pick this one.
Okay, I think I'm going to go the Lions at home. I mean, there's two teams. The Vikings have played better than what they are, and the Lions haven't played as good as they should be. So I think the Lions want to step up against the division rival. I think the Lions will take this, and I think both teams will be 2-2. I think the Packers will be 2-2, and I think the Bears will be 2-2. So I think this is the week that they all even up. And Lions
that would be pretty interesting. Everybody's tied for first in that division, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Hey, it happened last week. They're all 4 teams are 1-1.
I'm going to go Vikings, and I don't have a great reason why.
All right, what do you say about the Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs?
You really got to ask. You really
Yeah,
got to ask.
I'm going Chiefs too. So.
All right, I'm going Chiefs with that one for sure. I mean, Kansas City
am
right
too.
now, their offense is much more explosive than the Charger offense, and it's been years since I've been able to say that.
Oh yeah, and the Chiefs defense week by week they should be getting better, especially with Romeo Crennel as their head coach.
Well, and they're getting healthier and healthier too. Their offense is a little bit banged up right now. I mentioned earlier in the show, Peyton Hillis will be out. Dexter McCluster is questionable. Did you see that play where Dexter McCluster got injured?
No, I did not.
It is disgusting. His elbow bent all the way backwards.
Oh wow!
But he was
How
still,
long is he going to be gone?
No, he was still practicing this week, limitedly.
That guy's crazy.
He could play. But they still have Kevin Boss out, which is a really big blow to that offense. Who's trying to get that double tight end? They just can't get it working because one of their tight ends is always hurt.
Yeah, Moiyaki was hurt at the beginning of the year, and now Boss is hurt, and they want that double tight end because it's you can run the ball with two tight ends in.
I'll tell you what,
man. You can motion a tight end into the fullback, and I'm sure that's what the Chiefs are trying to do. Like move the tight ends around, try to get mismatches against the defense. So they're trying to use it for good for the passing game and for the running game.
All right, Titans at Texans. Do we have to talk about it even?
Nope, Texans.
Bengals at Jags.
This is kind of interesting, but I'm going to go Bengals to go 3-1, which is kind of weird to say. But I think Andy Dalton and AJ Green, I think they're, going to be one of the best tandems in the NFL for years and years to come. So I go Bengals.
I agree with you. I'm going to go Bengals in this game, and I like what you said about the future. I think that they got a good future ahead of them.
Yeah. So you're going to take the Bengals over the Los Angeles Jaguars?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Jaguars are moving, man. Like, a bad year after bad year, Jaguars are going to be moving soon. But Raiders at Broncos.
This is my whoop, whoop, whoop. That's my upset special noise. I'm going Raiders in this game. Did you know that the Raiders have won their last 4 games in Denver, and McFadden has rushed for 100 yards plus in each of those? Coming off a big win against Pittsburgh, I'm going Oakland.
You know what? Well, trends are meant to be broken. I'm going Broncos. Darren McFadden will not run for over 100 yards, and Carson Palmer will not throw for over 250, and Broncos are going to win this game with Peyton Manning at the helm, being mad as hell, trying to win a game.
I don't think Peyton Manning is mad. I think he's just being outplayed.
Yeah, well, he's busy with all those DirecTV commercials.
Right? Dolphins at Cardinals.
All right, Dolphins, Cardinals.
I said I was going against the Cardinals, didn't I?
You are.
I'm not. I'm picking Cardinals.
You know what? That's really funny because I'm going to go with Dolphins in this.
No way!
I think Cardinals cannot go 4-0, and Reggie Bush, I think, will have a big game this week.
Well, Reggie Bush is banged up.
Well, he's banged up, but Ryan Tannehill's getting better and better every week. It only takes one play to go 90 yards with Reggie Bush. You know what I mean? You see him get the punt returns. You see him get the ball in his hands. He can make plays happen, and we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Dolphins.
All right, Redskins at Buccaneers.
I'm going to go RG3 in the Redskins.
I'm going Redskins as well for the sole fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the 32nd offense in the league. They just cannot if you do not put points on the board, Buccaneers, you do not win a game, Buccaneers. Redskins win that game by 10.
Yeah, whatever happened to Josh Freeman? I'm just saying he had one great year and now he's gone. But anyways,
that happens
Saints at
to a lot of
Packers.
people. This is actually the easiest game on the schedule for me to pick.
It is. Go Packers 2-2.
No, I'm agreeing with you. The Packers, the Saints are just bad. Now, the loser of this game might be out of the playoffs. We were talking about how the middle teams in the league are so strong. Well,
yes.
One of the things that's going to cause is it's going to cause a lot of 10-6 teams, a lot of 9-7 teams, and you'll probably have some 10-6 teams that do not make the playoffs this year because it's just so close.
Yeah, we've seen it before.
Exactly. So this is almost a must-win game, and that's crazy for it to be a Week 4 game. But I think the Packers are so angry. Anybody going into the Lambeau Field after that huge, they feel like that they were robbed. They're going to come back with something to prove. And this is Aaron Rodgers going up against the worst defense in the league.
Yeah.
Packers win by 18 points. I think it's huge. I think they have them blown out by the first half.
Well, I think your point prediction is a little wrong. I'm going to go Packers win by 25. No, I'm just playing. But honestly, this game I think the Packers will win, but I think it's either going to be a defensive struggle type game Because the Packers defense has actually been playing very well this year.
They have.
But their offense has been kind of on the downturn. So it's going to be strength versus strength. With the Saints offense going against the Packers defense, Packers offense going against the Saints defense. So I think it's either going to be a very close game, like what the Packers played last week, and be 15-14, 16-14, 21, something like that. Or it's just going to be an absolute crazy shootout and be, 42-37 type game. But I think if it does become a shootout, if both teams score over 25 points, I guarantee a Packers win. Because with the way the Saints defense is playing against the way the Packers defense is playing.
Right. There's a lot better chance that the Packers defense will step up when needed than the Saints defense just will not step up. They cannot step up. So
agree.
yeah, I like that pick. Giants at Eagles.
Giants at Eagles.
Can't wait for this game. Cannot wait for this game. Sunday night. This is going to be a great game.
I got to take the Giants. Giants defensive line, with Justin Tuck and all that, Jason Pierre-Paul and O.C. Umenyiora, all them players against Michael Vick, who is struggling with turning over the ball. He's going to want to go into this division game, not necessarily wanting to pick up or get big numbers, but he's going to go into this game wanting to win, wanting to impress, wanting to, destroy the Giants. I think the Giants defense is going to play the way the Giants defense does and get turnovers and stop them.
Last week, the Giants had a Thursday night game, and I think that it's week 4 where they really they get rewarded for that, where they've had a lot more time to get healthy and prepare than the Eagles have. It's for that reason. Well, not just that reason. I have another reason as well. The Giants are a team that have shown that they know how to win big games. I think they'll go in. They're a very well-coached team. They'll realize the importance of this game, even though it is so early in the season. And I think the Giants win, but I do think it's close. I think the Eagles play their best game that they've played all year, but they still lose.
Sounds good to me. What about the Bears at Cowboys?
Bears at Cowboys. This is a tough game to pick.
You know what? Actually, going back to that last game, by the Eagles playing the best game they played, you don't think they're going to turn the ball over as much as they have been?
No.
Against the Giants defense, though, they can rush the quarterback and will scare Vic out of his pants. Not scare him, but make him press the ball down the field.
No, I don't think they will. I think that Andy Reid will get smart and he'll hand the ball off to LaShawn McCoy a little bit more, at least check down.
No, he never gets smart, though. That's the thing. Like, Andy Reid never runs the ball.
I know. I think he will have to against the Giants. He'll have to find a way to control the clock against the Giants. He's got to get first downs. You don't need the big plays. You need to get the first down. Get the first down. Keep the ball in your hands. Control the clock. That's how you beat the Giants. I think the Eagles will keep it close. They'll play a good game. They will not turn the ball over 4 times. They will only turn the ball over once. But they still lose. It'll be a close game, though. I can't wait for that game.
I know. That's going to be a fun game. Okay, anyways, get back to the Bears and Cowboys. Who do you got?
Bears and Cowboys. This one's difficult for me to pick. The Cowboys are the number 1 defense in the league right now in terms of yards, and that is why I am going to go Dallas. But I think it is going to be pretty close. But I'm going to go Dallas based on defense.
All right, I'm going to go Bears based on defense.
Interesting.
It is. Urlacher's, he's got that problem with his knees or whatever. He's getting old. But I think the Bears defense needs to step up and win them a game. Not saying that they've lost them a game or anything, but against the Cowboys offense is like so up and down, like you said, the Cowboys do great, do bad, do great, do bad. I think the Bears, this will be their week, going on Monday Night Football, being embarrassed by the Packers the last time they were on a nationally televised game. I think they're going to want to step up and not look embarrassed again. I think Peppers is going to get a few sacks. I think Urlacher's going to knock DeMarco Murray's teeth out. I just think the Bears are going to step up and win by defense, not offense.
This will conclude episode 4. Our show schedule will be a little inconsistent through October as Cartman deals with the 70-hour work weeks and unpredictable schedule changes, but we're thinking episode 5 will be posted on Friday night, and we're hoping to be back to full form next week, including Geek Speak, including Turning Points.
My advice this week is that most of the things that everybody in this world worries about actually never happen.
Now that's some good advice.